are in a position now, we're the only people who will ever experience the end of prohibition on cannabis that can actually do something. We're the only ones. Our parents are a little too old and our kids are too young. So it's on us. We're the only ones who can experience the end of prohibition. And so what are we going to do? It's time for us to take this industry by the neck. When I was in Denver, Colorado back in February, a reporter came up to me and she said, "Wow, Leo, I didn't know y'all was doing it that big on the East Coast." And when she said it, she was looking at me, she was looking at Jake and Nelson from CCA, she was looking at Dashida Dawson, Ronnie Soto, all Roz McCarthy, all the members of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, Cannabis Cultural Association, the New Jersey Cannabis Commission. She was talking about all of us, and out there, outside of New York, outside of New Jersey, they think we're really doing something big. Well, they ain't seen nothing yet. We're coming into election season, folks. So it's time that we start making that change at the ballot. Yeah. Support your local officials, start making the phone calls, and your marching orders is to get your asses in line and get ready to walk down this avenue and make some noise.
Ken Bowman from Sativa. Thank you, Ken. Step up.
Thank you for inviting me here today to share this special moment and the advocacy for our right to utilize medical cannabis for our own health and wellness needs. I want to thank Noah and Stephen for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I am fortunate enough to stand here in front of this amazing crowd, being a fellow New Yorker, a businessman, and a local entrepreneur, supporting the right for social justice and safe and legal consumption of a product that was taken away from us for almost a century due to industrial and pharmaceutical propaganda. I like the sign right here. This is the exit drug. It is not a gateway drug because we are in that gateway. And we are here today from our pharmaceutical industry that are pharmacists, just as I am myself, not the ones that are developing the chemical drugs, fighting here for all our right for safe consumption of medical marijuana. It is our duty as citizens to stand here and stand up for ourselves to be able to utilize natural products for the safe consumption and for to meet our healthcare needs. We are Canna Avengers. We are all here gathered for one common cause. I'd like to briefly tell you about our company. At Sativa, we are focused on producing the highest of quality products that are safe, standardized, free of pests, molds, and mildew. We produce natural and safe compounds, allowing you to obtain the same effect and the same dosage time and time again. However, we are unable to utilize that currently because we are mandated by the government to be able to utilize medical marijuana for only the approved symptoms that they have listed. However, through our continued efforts, we hope the barrier falls. And the right to these products is given back to everyone, so we can control our own destinies and our own health care and wellness. That's true, and we're here fighting for that. I would like to thank individuals like Diane Savino and Cuomo for creating the program and allowing it to open up as the program progresses. I know it seems like it's past due and the program is not effective, but it's not an easy task, and we are here all fighting for the same end goal. I can assure you all that Sativa is doing everything they can in its power to work with the governor's office to ensure progress and the success of this program for everyone. Sativa is part of a company called Dianthus. It's a publicly traded company that operates in 6 states. Our mission is to bring you the best of quality of products to meet all your healthcare needs. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am looking for a greener future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Next, we'd like to bring up Anthony Beckford from the Green Party. Thank you, Anthony.
Hey, what's up, everybody? No, I'm not feeling that. What's up, everybody? I'm feeling that right there. Now, yeah, you see me here in the suit. You hear that I'm a part of a party, so you know I'm running for an election. But that doesn't mean that I'm a politician. That means I'm an advocate for the people, straight from the streets of Brooklyn, right there in East Flatbush. There we go, there we go. So one thing I want to say is we need to end the criminalization of weed.
That's right.
We need to stop this racist drug war that's against our people. We need to stop the corporations and big pharma from making profits off of a natural plant that is there for us, the people. We need to stop them from colonizing and appropriating everything that is natural for us. Because one thing I say, and one thing I always say, the people have demands, and we need people to answer those demands. And one of the reasons why I started running for city state council, well, city council last year, why I'm running for New York State Assembly this year, is to answer the demand of my peoples. Because how many of my people are in prison right now, and how many of your people in prison right now just for possession, just for selling, but yet you have affluent people out there guilty of rape and murder getting probation. That's ridiculous. While our people are getting locked up, thrown in Rikers, just for what? For living life? But see, another thing you gotta know about me, I'm also a Marine Corps veteran. I've seen many of my brothers and sisters in the Marine Corps dealing with PTSD, dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, dealing with this system turning their backs on us. And the thing that is natural to us that helps us, they rather stick a pill down our throat so that way we can OD and die and be a less problem for them. I say the time of that stops. Because if there is going to be a war on drugs, it's going to be a war against the prohibition on drugs. It's going to be a war against all of these politicians that have criminalized it just so they can make a profit off of our bodies in the jail cells. Now, I may seem too radical for most of y'all. I may seem too passionate for most of y'all, right? Oh, I just had to check because I can't deal with people that can't handle this message.
I can handle it.
Because as you know, there's a lot of people who want to make a lot of money off of what we want. But let me ask you this. When is it that they stop making money off of our suffering? We need to make sure that if it gets legalized for everybody.
That's right.
No more corporate profits.
That's right.
No more big pharma genetically engineering it so that way you don't get no benefits except for them to say, oh, see, we told you. Exactly. We should be allowed to farm our weed. We should be able to give our weed out. We should be able to sell our own weed without being worried about us being criminalized. And I like the fact that the unions are out here, because one thing I want to say is why we have being drug tested. Are our CEOs being drug tested? Are our presidents being drug tested? Is Congress being drug tested? Shit, they ass need to be. But the fact of you as a laborer are out here enjoying your life, doing something that is natural, that goes all the way back to the days of Aboriginal, to where CBD in our marijuana has so much medical benefits than any pill that they can give us. The only reason they want to keep it from us is because we can actually live instead of just surviving. So on that note there, I say legalize it, and legalize it now.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go. Woo! That's right. Let's go.
Anthony, thank you very much for that. So next we're going to bring up Kat Bresler, People for Bernie.
Good morning, New York! I'm so happy to be out here with all of you. Can you feel the excitement in the air? I can. I'm really excited to be out here with my brothers and sisters in labor. I see Stuart Applebaum out there. Thank you, brother. I'm a Bronx public school teacher. I believe that what I'm seeing in my classroom is devastating. There's been over 17,000 arrests in New York City, and it is tearing my families apart. It is displacing them, and we cannot stand for this anymore. It is time to end this racist drug policy. It is time to free the people and make it legal. I'm gonna say make it legal, you say free the people. Make it legal.
Free the people.
Make it legal.
Free the people.
Make it legal.
Free the people.
Thank you, everybody.
We have a very special person here. Actually, we have like hundreds of very special people here, but there's somebody here who's really like near and dear to my heart, and who I met a couple of years ago with respect to the Cannabis Cultural Association, maybe a little before that, but we are on the board of the Cannabis Cultural Association. And Sarah Steniff, for those of you that know Sarah, clap please, give her a round of applause. And for those of you that don't, I'm going to tell you a little about her. She is a remarkable person. She is a veteran. She was the crew chief for Apache helicopter. She served our country with great distinction. She suffered injury while serving our country with great distinction. And she came on back and is now an advocate for cannabis, having gone through an enormous, remarkable diaspora. She's going to tell you all about it. But she is amazing. She is one of the best and most outspoken and most knowledgeable people that you will ever meet about cannabis. And I'm so proud to call you my friend. Everybody, a round of applause for Sarah Steniff.
How's everybody doing? How many veterans we got out in the crowd today? Thank you. How many family members of veterans we got out in the crowd? All right, fun little fact here in New York, we got over 900,000 veterans that live here in the state of New York. 72% of us that have served during a time of war. Over 30% of us live below the poverty-stricken line. But what happens to a lot of us when we come home is we are under these medications, a slew of medications, because there's not one that solves all the problems. You get this plethora of pills. But what comes along with this? What thrives on the issues with military sexual trauma, PTSD. Along with this comes alcohol, comes substance abuse, comes domestic violence. Why? Because we can't even have cannabis, which is a first-line treatment. We can't even have that as a preventative medicine. We can't use a medicine that works for us because it's deemed legal. I didn't get off my pills because I had a safe doctor to turn to and educate me. I couldn't get off my pills and be seizure-free today because I had the research that I needed to help me wean off my medications. I've survived 2 suicide attempts and I'm alive today because I'm illegally healed through cannabis. I'm a medical marijuana patient. I'm a medical marijuana patient here in the state of New York, but let me tell you something. I don't use their medicine because I don't have $2,000 a month to pay to stay alive. My seizures require full-spectrum medicine. My seizure requires the entourage effect because I don't have just one problem. I got chronic pain, I got PTSD, and CBD and THC just don't cut it for me. I need the whole plant. And what works for me may not work for you. But I'm asking our government to create an unbiased platform for that much needed research. Collect the science yourself. Hear the anecdotal evidence and understand what we need. Cannabis has worked for me, and I'm not going to give up my fight until my brothers and sisters stop that 22 a day and we go down to 0. Thank you.
Awesome. That is absolutely awesome, everyone. Big round of applause for everything Sarah stands for. There's Mona Jong. There she is. Journalist extraordinaire. Amazing. Who is our next speaker? Oh my God.
Our friend Shira. The author of the ABC of CBD. And we love you, Shira. And I love you guys. More than words can say. Yeah, like a boss baby. Hashtag. I'm Shira Adler. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I'm a fucking instigator. Thank you. I am here today in memory of some of the most incredible female activists who all fought for the issues of their day. Women including Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Susan B. Anthony, and let's not forget Brownie Mary Jane Rathbun.
Amazing.
Our reason for being here today is to end prohibition. My reason for being here today is to be with my other strong mothers, my sisters and my brothers,
and to say unembarrassedly that I am a former anti-pot parent, and I have seen the light, and that light was so bright that it got me seriously woke. Are you woke? No, I mean really, are you woke? I am here because as a mother, I got sick of a system that was making my children sick. I was tired of watching people age and suffer and struggle. If you share my belief, my passion, and my purpose, then you will understand why I say, people, we have serious work to do right now in this moment, because in this moment of our history, we must manifest around the staggering amounts of misinformation. We must shatter stigma, and we must teach the truth. You do not just teach your children the ABCs, you must teach them and honor the beautiful sister plant cannabis and teach the ABCs of CBD. It is an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Give it up for Shira Adler. Shira Adler, the ABCs of CBD. Who's the next speaker there?
Next up, we are bringing Chris Alexander from DPA.
Chris Alexander from the Drug Policy Alliance.
Yes.
Another really amazing advocate, so eloquent. I'm also very, very honored, pleased to call you my friend. Come on up here, Chris. It's amazing to see you. Thank you for everything you do. Everyone, a round of applause for Chris Alexander, DPA. All right.
Thank you, Joe. Listen, we are here for one reason. Amanda made it very clear. We are here to make sure that prohibition ends in New York now. We're not waiting for tomorrow.
That's right.
We're not waiting for next year. We're not waiting for the rest of the country to continue to go. New York needs to move towards ending marijuana prohibition today. I thank all the advocates who've been standing here, who've been fighting for reform for so long. We are finally getting closer and closer every day, and we're doing so by centering the fact that marijuana prohibition in New York has been incredibly harmful and disproportionately impacted communities of color. 86% of those who are arrested for marijuana possession in this city are black and brown people.
That's bullshit!
Black and brown people. That's why we do this work. That's why we're proud to stand here with all the advocates, with all the partners who've been working on this issue for a very long time. Let's continue to move forward. We're going to have more comments down when we get down to Union Square. But in the meantime, come up to me and ask me if you want to get involved. Come talk to me. Let's do it.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Amanda, you want to tell us about our next speaker?
Yes. Our next speaker is a longtime activist, Aaron Kay. Aaron Kay is going to take this the mic from me here.
All right, everybody,
Thank you,
a round of applause for Aaron Kay.
Hey!
A long-time cannabis advocate in New York. Thank you so much for being here, Aaron.
Hey, usually I talk about throwing pies. Well, I'm putting out a yippee fat one. The word is anything for the Trumpies, the chumpies. Remember, pot's a nerve, Trump's a dope. Well, I can't wait to hear what the result is going to be when Trump claims he supports states' rights. Well, I don't trust the motherfucker one iota. You know, people wanted me to pie him several years ago when he was just a private citizen. I should have taken him up on it. Maybe it would have derailed the stupid race. And you know, we got a lot we gotta deal with. We gotta deal with these motherfuckers of ICE. The lights from ICE. You know, the way they're busting our friends for weed who are immigrants and sending them back. A lot of us are immigrants. And I support immigrant rights. My family were immigrants.
That's right.
We are all immigrants from somewhere.
That's right.
To hell with the white trash that support America first. Well, maybe they sell America first toilet paper. Dig it? There's a lot of these clowns around and they gotta be stopped. All these alt-right neo-Nazi type baby have gotta go. Remember, we all live in Charlottesville. We all live in Parkland.
That's right.
You know, this shit has to stop. And ganja will help, because no one's going to want to get violent with the crack and the coke and the speed when they're high on the holy ganja.
Give it up for Aaron K, everybody.
My rabbi told me that cannabis is in the Hebrew Tanakh, Cannabusim.
It's even kosher for Passover.
And it's kosher for Passover. I mean, look at my page on Facebook. This gentleman here, he's sitting in the audience, did the artwork for the kosher logo for ganja.
Right.
Yes.
If you're a,
you know, and ganja's kosher, well, Trump ain't. Anyway, I'm still fighting back against my physical health problems. I'm 68 and still fighing.
Give it up for Aaron K. It's an honor and a privilege to have
see you on the march.
For everyone, round of applause.
Keep it cool. Remember, let me hear it once from you. Trump's a dope. The partisan herb. Trump is a dope. Let me hear it. All right.
Everybody, I would be remiss if I did not point out that there's a person in our crowd who I remember when he had as little gray, when we both had no gray hair, and he would wander the subways. There's Curtis Sliwa from the Guardian Angels, everybody. There's Curtis Sliwa and the Guardian Angels, and how far this parade has come. Look at all of our media. We have got an amazing crowd. We've got a really awesome turnout, and the next person that's going to speak is really an awesome fellow, Leland Radovanovic. That's right. Leland Radovanovic is on the board of directors of the Cannabis Cultural Association, and he is really an amazing, amazing person, an advocate for cannabis, and has just like gotten our group out into the media and pushed a lot of this movement mainstream. So Leland, thank you for being with us. Come on up onto the dais. Okay, round of applause for Leland Radovanovic.
Woo! This is awesome. This is my third year participating in this event, and each year it gets better and better and better. And so thank you to all the organizers who put this together, and thank all of you for being here. I founded a chapter of Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We are a really badass student group who get shit done on the state level and on the local level. Back in 2016, everybody knows that Maine was a really tight race. We made 5,000 phone calls in Maine, and that law only passed by a little over 3,000 votes. So we are the boots on the ground, and we are the ones helping push the message that the war on drugs as a whole is racist, it's classist, and it's ageist AF. Honestly, and that's just really, that's it, and that's the final piece of it. And at the end of the day, you should vote, and this is election season, but there's other things you can do. You can support your local organizations, you can help with student internships. We have a ton of energy, we have time, not me because I graduated, but they do. And we want to work, and we want to make this movement happen, and we've been doing it really on the college level, on the state level, on the local level. And I just want to say that you all look beautiful. I'm so excited to march with everybody. And let's end prohibition in New York and nationally. Let's do this. We can keep pushing. It is happening. Again, it is racist. It is classist. It is ageist. And it needs to end today. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome, everybody. Round of applause. Listen, here's the thing now. We talked about it before. We've talked about it again. We'll talk about it again and again. We need to start to elect people in Congress, right, who believe in the descheduling, the legalization of marijuana. Am I right? And for too long, we've stood by and not voted, and we've opted out. And as a result, we haven't been able to maximize our chances to make a change. The time is now to make a change. Our next speaker is a Democratic hopeful for a seat in Congress. He's running against Carolyn Maloney, am I correct? On the Upper East Side, a well-entrenched politician. But this gentleman's name, Sander Hicks, I have just had him covenant to me, listen to this everyone, that he favors the descheduling of recreational marijuana. Do you hear me? So here's a man that wants to run for a congressional seat and to urge Congress to deschedule marijuana. Give it up for Sander Hicks.
How y'all doing? Hey, what's up? I'm Sander Hicks, HicksForCongress.com, challenging Carolyn Maloney here in the 12th Congressional District. East side of Manhattan, all the way down to Lower East Side. I'm an old friend of Allen Ginsberg, pot radical, beat poet, revolutionary, poetic voice of the Lower East Side. I want to talk about higher consciousness. I'm talking about, I represent the consciousness of unity amongst peoples, the consciousness of that we are all one. We have to have a society that goes beyond Islamophobia, goes beyond institutional racism, goes beyond the criminalization of one of God's sacred plants. It's a First Amendment issue. This is freedom of religion. Yes, how our founding fathers who smoked marijuana, who cultivated marijuana, our founding fathers will be rolling in their graves to see that we have violated the First Amendment. How our deep state, our CIA traffics in opium in Afghanistan, they trafficked in cocaine in the Iran-Contra operation. How dare they criminalize marijuana? I'm running up against the pro-war Democrats. I'm leading a rebellion inside the Democratic Party for peace, for prosperity, for public interest venture capital. I want you to meet this guy with the hat, glitz. He's from my campaign. We want to get you to be involved in our campaign. We want you to join us.
Talk to him, meet him, talk to him.
So yeah, meet me after this. We'll be right over here. Please join our campaign against corporate Democrats. Join our rebellion. Free the weed. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Are you our next speakers? Do I have the distinction and privilege of introducing two people?
Right.
As our is it them? Is it Jake?
We are actually just going to talk for a couple of minutes. Nelson and Jake are going to wrap us up in just a minute, guys.
This is amazing.
So far, folks, how are we doing? How are we doing? Hello, Saki. Hello, friends. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Grayson. Thank you, everyone, for turning out. A couple of quick things. One, if we could please keep the sidewalk clear. That's a request from the PD. So if we could please keep the sidewalk clear so that people can walk through. After our last speakers, we'll be gathering as contingents. So please, if you're walking with CCA, find your CCA folks who are going to be on stage. If you're walking with Women Grow, I see them gathering. Thank you. Please gather with your contingents. After our last speakers, we will tell you how to line up and get ready for our parade, okay? All right, so Joe, I don't want to take this from you. This is just so great and so amazing.
Oh my God. So I met the following two speakers almost 3 years ago at an event, one of their kind of the first events really, when we were sitting around a table. And Nelson Guerrero and Jake Plowden are the co-founders of a group called the Cannabis Cultural Association. Who's heard of the Cannabis Cultural Association? They're amazing, let me tell you something. And they took me in, that's how I got involved, because these guys took me in, they were kind enough to take me in and allow me to be part of their organization. And what they do is amazing. The mission statement is to completely obliterate, to destroy the disparity of legal enforcement against people of color in marijuana cases. A round of applause for that. That's the mission statement. Destroy that disparity. Make sure it never happens again. And also in this newfound industry, to make certain that people of color are at the table and that they have equity and diversity and that the industry is fair for all of us. Round of applause for my friends, people I'm so proud of, young heroes, Jacob Plowden, Nelson Guerrero. Come on, you guys, you rock.
So much. Amazing, amazing work.
This is the future of our movement. This is why we're going to win. And this is why nobody can stop it. Listen to their words. Come here, you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Joe. Hey, yo, cannabis culture.
Feliz Cinco de Mayo!
I say, yo, cannabis culture! It's beautiful to see how far the culture has come. It is so beautiful to see the different walks of life out here because this is it. The time for change is now. No more waiting on our politicians. The power is in our hands. So when I say we are cannabis culture, I'm talking about everybody here.
All cultures use cannabis.
And when I say no more, y'all gonna say drug war. No more? Drug war! No more! Drug war! No more! Drug war! That's what I'm talking about. We all know why we're here. This is bigger than getting high. This is bigger than money. This is about elevating the culture on a whole new level. Ensuring that the voiceless have voices. Ensuring that we're not going broke buying medicine. Ensuring that we are all going to be sitting at the table because we all gonna eat. This is about freeing the plant and freeing the people. So beyond today, you need to realize, get involved, get informed, and stay empowered. We are cannabis culture, and so are you. Let's stand up. No more! No more! No more! Let's get it poppin', y'all. Let's march for freedom and let's march for this plan. We are cannabis culture. Woo!
2018 New York City Cannabis Parade. Let's show our current administration, our future administration, to get it right and do right by the people. If everyone can start getting organized and coordinated, we're going to get this parade going. Who's ready? What are we going to legalize? It's cannabis. Let's get it right. Let's change the movement. This is about progress. Let's get it together. All right, what are we going to legalize? Cannabis.
When are we going to legalize it? That's what I like to hear. Y'all are beautiful. Let's grow together. Woo. Let's go together.
Beautiful.
We are now going to engage in an exercise of lining up. Right? That's what we're doing. Am I correct?
Yes.
Are we prepared to line up? Right? Are we? Hold on one sec.
Line up right here, right? Okay.
What we need to do is be able to do a little bit of math. We're going to snake around here. Whoop, this way. And the people who are at the rear of the parade, listen to me on this. We've got to demonstrate our smarts on this one, all right, people? The rear of the parade people are going to be down over there at West 31st. We're going to snake around these barricades, and we're going to pick up the police scooter escort, and we're going to proceed down the bike lane like a snake, okay? So, whoop, all the way here. And so the people who are at the end of the parade are the vehicles. That's vehicle. A mobile billboard, veterans, and the pickup truck will be way over there at the end of the parade, but since they're all in vehicles, guess what? They're going to stay on the avenue and wait for us to go. We've got Joel Jambra, who is a political candidate. He's a gubernatorial hopeful, who's going to be way on down there at West 32nd with his contingent. Sir, we see you over there. And if you could please proceed to West 32nd and guide us with your acumen and your skill, you will lead the rear of the parade contingent. After that, we've got the Green Party. Where's the Green Party? Green Party, please follow Joel Jambra. If you don't go now, you're going to miss your spot, everybody. We need to move in an orderly and timely fashion as well. Flower Power, where's Flower Power Coffee? Where is Leighton Knowles with the flower outfit? I saw him. You need to go to 32nd, get on over there. 32nd. Everyone please, we need to line up our parade contingent in the order that we have. The Retail Wholesale Department Store Union, where are you all? Shout out, where are you with the signs? That's you, right? Could you please proceed down towards 32nd Street with your whole contingent? I'm sorry, 31st. I keep saying 32nd. 31st, that way. I'm sorry if I confused everybody. I mean downtown. I mean that way. 31st, 31st, 31st. The rear is Joel Jambra in the rear with the Green Party. And we've got Flower Power. Excellent. And the Retail Wholesale Department Store Union people, we're getting there, we're getting there. Where's SSDP? If you're with Students for Sensible Drug Policy, please proceed to 31st Street. You are going to be just in front, just north of the Union. Cannagather, where are the Cannagather people? The Cannagather gang is going to be north of SSDP. The New York Minority Alliance with their rockin' sign will be just in front of Cannagather. Here's Deborah Felton. Deborah Felton, I see you. Arms, who's from Arms? Where's Grizzly Boat Courts group? Pop on down that way, gentlemen, towards 31st Street. All right? Yes, help us out. You guys are going to be really in the activist group, okay? You're going to be just in front of New York Minority Alliance. High NY, where's Michael's 87 High NY? Anyone from High NY here? Todd Hinden's from High NY. Well, the man in the marijuana suit doing the interviews with multiple cameras, please go to West 31st Street with his group. High NY to 31st Street. The MJBA, where's MJBA? MJBA, please go to 31st Street. 31st Street. We can't have a parade unless we march in order. If I'm calling your group, go down to 31st Street.
Hey, Joe, friendly.
There will be people there to assist you in the organization.
It was a success. We had Sparrow there. We had Steve Delachinsky. It was really great. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Help us, Women Grow. See, women are smarter. That's right. The women are smart. Could you please help us by going to 31st?
All right. You're on my email list, right? You get emails from me?
Leading by example.
Cool. Okay.
Following the New York Minority Alliance.
What's that?
I think so. I'm not
totally sure.
All right. I'm pretty sure you are.
The Cannabis Cultural Association.
What did you think about 6630507?
The CCA,
what is that?
I know the CCA will go follow everyone and help them get down to West 31st Street.
No, what patent number is that?
Just in front of Women Grow. Just north of Women Grow.
I think it came out in
Empire State
04 when it was applied for in the late 90s. And some guy assigned it to the National Institute of
Get in
Health.
line so we can begin to
So
march
apparently
on
he was an employee of theirs.
occasion.
It has to do with marijuana?
Yeah, it's the medicinal use of the
Policy Alliance,
marijuana
Christopher
plant.
Alexander,
They
where's
claim
your
all the
group?
stuff that hasn't been discovered yet.
They're
It's there.
around,
And
right?
it
That's
has
good.
all kinds. But if you just read the
That's good. There you
abstract, the
go.
opening
31st Street.
paragraph,
You're going to be behind
it has
Empire
all
State Normal.
kinds of medical benefits.
Wow, that's funny. I didn't know you could copyright something like that.
Cannabis Parade banner.
Hey, Tenrai.
Where is the Cannabis Parade banner? It is going to kick off the event by being the northernmost group. There you go. Awesome. Awesome. The New York City Cannabis Parade banner is going to be the northernmost group.
Are there lasting sufferings from being a veteran?
Amanda Reyes is going to continue to announce these contingents.
Are there lasting
and I'm going
suffering?
to become the shepherd.
Are there things that you can blame on a veteran?
Not a lot of the guys, yeah, but I was in it in 63. I got out right away. Yeah, there's a lot of guys.
Like just plain killing anybody is like
somebody who actually has been part
hit
of it
on the soul.
longer than anybody I know, and that's Dana Beal. Dana, thank you so much for being here.
A lot of guys hurt. And there's cancer, there's 22.
I gotta go do Dana.
Yeah, go ahead.
Apparently, it's necessary for me to tell you what the history is of this event. Because somebody said in the newspaper that the origins were lost in the mists of time. But there's actually quite a few people who are alive who did the first big pot parade in 1973. Now, my name is Dana, and I had become somewhat notorious during the Summer of Love for putting on marijuana smoke-ins in Tompkins Park. And my notoriety led to the police saying that I sold pot on a day when I actually didn't have any pot to sell. And I didn't have any pot to sell for 2 weeks before that and a week after that. So I'm sitting in jail and I'm trying to calculate, and I realize I'm being framed. I'm actually being framed. I mean, it's one thing to sell pot, right? Or to have pot, or be smoking pot in the park and have a cop come along and do a stop and frisk. But it's another thing completely for them to just make it up. Despite the fact that we have Donald Trump as president and he makes up things all the time. But it was scary. And I decided to absent myself from New York for a period of years. And when I came back, the first time I was able to do a big pot parade was 1973. And when I used to do this, I used to do posters. We gave out thousands of flyers. We fucking flooded neighborhoods with volunteers and let everybody who smokes marijuana in New York practically know that it was happening. So we had a pretty big event at Washington Square Park. And I remember we had Rollerina, right? Rollerina was a drag queen on roller skates with all kinds of, like, you know, like, we had Rollerina, man. I'm saying we had real community participation. And we had a couple thousand people, and we marched up Fifth Avenue to the band shell in Central Park, where we had a kick-ass concert, and then afterwards we had a guerrilla march to John Mitchell's apartment. And this was at the height of Watergate. And as you know, Richard Nixon had decided specifically to inflict himself on marijuana smokers. And we were not boneheads. We were very active. And we had a big banner that said, "Open Martha's mouth." Because Martha was talking, and we were convinced that she had proof of criminality at the highest level. And sure enough, it turned out to be true. Richard Nixon was impeached, resigned in disgrace, and the Democrats won the biggest sweep. I mean, if we could do what they did in 1974, there wouldn't be any Republicans in Congress practically, you know. But unfortunately, it did not ultimately lead to marijuana being legal. We tried under Jimmy Carter, and it kind of backfired. And that's a whole other story, you know. It really, I think it was bad to partner marijuana with cocaine and say we're going to kind of legalize marijuana and cocaine at the same time. And there were a lot of people who were doing coke at the time. Basically, I would do it if you would give me something for free. You know, people would always try to give me cocaine, and what they were trying to do was not pay their pot bill, right? And actually, you think about it, the guy is giving you cocaine, right? And he can't pay for his pot. There's something wrong. So anyway, at the end of the time, Ronald Reagan got elected. We started going backwards. We sat down and came up with the Ibogaine project, which took 10 years. And we actually, a lot of people don't know this, but the marijuana people were the ones who came up with the cure for heroin. And we did it because we care about our friends. And we care about people dying. And we don't want any more people to die. Now, I just want to tell you one more thing. Dennis Peron just died. And he's the guy, he would always come to these events in the 90s. Dennis Peron would come in from California. We hadn't done Proposition 215 yet. And LV Musica would come in. Dennis just died from COPD, which was caused by cigarettes. And I told a cop in Colorado just last week, I said, you know, it's really great that you legalize pot here. And what we want to do is replace a mostly alcohol and tobacco world with some pot, with a mostly marijuana world. And we don't want to ban alcohol or tobacco, but we think that if people knew the truth, right? Here we got Curtis Sliwa, once was an opponent of marijuana, now he knows the truth. What killed Dennis Peron was the tobacco. My friend Ben Maisel, it was the tobacco. Eric Williams, the voice of black radio, who was standing at the base of the World Trade Center the morning of 9/11, when the thing came down and he had to run like a bastard, just died from tobacco. So we can replace tobacco with marijuana, That'll be a good deed.
I'm New York City Councilmember Donovan Richards. I represent the Republic of Queens, and I also chair the Public Safety Committee of the New York City Council, and we've been doing a lot of work to expose the disparities right here in New York City around marijuana. In New York City, 17,000 people arrested or given summonses on marijuana offenses. And we think it's a disgrace that that's happening right here in New York City. As the chair of public safety, I know all too well that there is no correlation between crime and marijuana.
That's correct.
And there's been this story put out there, this distorted story on how if you legalize marijuana, how the world is going to end. And we heard these same arguments when we talked about ending stop and frisk in this city, when we talked about ending profiling of people, in particular in communities of color, who unfortunately bear the highest brunt of enforcement when it comes to these offenses. We looked at 911 and 311 data. We held a hearing in the council around a month and a half ago, and in that hearing, we heard from the NYPD on how 911 and 311 data was driving where majority of people of color were being arrested on marijuana offenses. And when we looked at those numbers, we all saw that it had nothing to do with 911 or 311 calls. It came down to hyper enforcement in communities, locking up young black and brown people over a low-level marijuana offense. So we are doing a lot of work to change that now. We look forward to seeing the numbers this year come down. We would love to see zero, and we think that, I personally believe that marijuana legalization needs to happen in what we call supposedly the most progressive city and state in the country. We're far behind where other cities are looking to go. When you look at what's happening in Seattle, how they're expunging cases, they're looking to expunge cases of those locked up over these low-level marijuana offenses. We know all too well that we're behind here in New York City. So I wanted to be here today to voice my support, 100% unwavering support toward legalization. This is not only an economic justice issue, but a social justice issue, and we need to correct it right here, right in New York City, right now. So God bless you all. Thank you for having me.
Hands together, everyone, for Donovan Richards, New York City Council member, 31st District, Queens. Talk to him.
Hi, I'm Brandon from ACT UP, and we are the AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power. We have been fighting the AIDS epidemic in New York City for over 30 years. And from the beginning of the AIDS crisis, marijuana has played a central role in medication for people with HIV. Before we had effective medications come around in the 90s, people were medicating with marijuana, which helped to relieve the side effects of harsh medications from Big Pharma. Right now, we have a crisis of access in New York City. We only have 5 marijuana dispensaries. People who need the medicine cannot get it. Andrew Cuomo right now is in control of all the cards. He can allow more dispensaries to open. He can get the contracts. He can let people grow.
A featured sign. What's the marijuana effect? Why is the government against it?
The government is against it because of greed and social inequality and all those things, but they should be for it because it saves lives.
How does inequality fit in?
Inequality fits in because the prohibition of marijuana was precisely used to suppress the minority populations of this country. And greed fits in because it was competing with oil and with cotton, and the people in charge wanted to keep their money to themselves, and they recognized that hemp is a sustainable, wonderful plant that actually is carbon negative, and they wanted to get rid of it.
For people who are been avoiding marijuana because they heard it was a drug. Could you describe the effect in ways that would appeal to them?
Yeah, my son is alive today because of cannabis. Scientifically, cannabis was meant to work with humans' endocannabinoid systems. We have endocannabinoids. Cannabis is a phytocannabinoid that works just like that in our body to bring homeostasis and balance. So there's botanical health, botanical wealth for optimal health.
So all the different chemicals out there, this one matches what goes on in your body.
Yes, this one is meant to work within our own system's ability to turn things up or down and to achieve homeostasis. It's not something outside coming in and treating one symptom and ruining everything else.
You know, one thing that helps is to know that what them scientists call those receptors in the body is cannabis.
Yes, there are CB1 and CB2 receptors in your body. There are receptors on the cell that that bind with the phytocannabinoids in the cannabis plant, and then these cannabinoids go in and help regulate the messaging to help you relieve inflammation or to help elevate your mood or something like that. So
elevate mood.
Elevate mood. Even if you're just doing CBD, it has the ability to elevate your mood to what your normal is. THC elevates it a little bit higher. So if you're suffering from anxiety or depression, cannabis is a welcome opportunity to treat yourself naturally and not have all of the potential to be addicted to the pharmaceutical solutions and be hurt by them.
You know, one thing that amazed me was listening to a scientist answer the question, what was the effect on the cannabis receptors being activated, and he said, enhancing synaptic connections.
The what?
Enhancing synaptic connections.
That's good. That's a good one.
Like such a general, wonderful thing to have.
Yeah. Well, good luck today. Thank you for it.
Right. When's your birthday?
September 23rd.
Happen.
Oh my gosh. World peace. And legalization! Yeah, 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 yeah!
Probably. My legal name is Harry Rubin.
Kick back, smoke pot. Line up. Kick back, smoke pot.
So I was right near the fridge. But from
What did cricket is sending you? What makes sense to bring you? It's not going to service.
Normal. There you go.
This has always been my big issue. She said that.
Women grow.
I'm Normal's federal lobbyist, and I've been working closely with veterans groups to get them to come out front and center. Last year, the American Legion did a poll, and they found 22% of veterans are currently consuming cannabis to alleviate symptoms of a physical or a mental ailment. Wow. And to put that in perspective, of the general population, you know, typically 13 to 14% of the general population consumes for medical or for fun, right? So with 22% of veterans saying they consume it specifically to alleviate symptoms of a physical or a mental ailment, you know, the veterans population is way ahead of Congress on this issue. And it's time that Congress catch up and reform the laws to allow at least a policy known as Veterans Equal Access, which will allow VA doctors to fill out authorizing paperwork in the states where medical marijuana is legal. We have legislation pending in the House on it. We passed it as an amendment in last year's Senate Appropriations Bill. 2 years ago, we passed it in both the House and in the Senate as an amendment in the Appropriations Bill, but the gatekeepers in Congress stripped it out, even after it passed both chambers of Congress. The gatekeepers are they call it the four corners. The committee chairs and ranking members of the appropriations committees, as well as Senate and House leadership. So it's suspected that it was former Senator Mark Kirk of Illinois who stripped it out 2 years ago. I don't have a good read on who stripped it out this year, but it was introduced by Republican Senator Daines of Montana in the Senate. That passed the Senate committee 24-7 in a vote to, again, very simply allow VA doctors to fill out the necessary paperwork under a state legal medical marijuana program for veterans, to not force veterans to have to pay out of pocket to go to a private doctor. You know, the next step is we need to make sure that VA coverage covers veterans medicine. You know, too often we have our leaders say that we don't have enough information. To put it in context, you can go on a pubmed.gov right now, which is hosted by the government, and type in the term marijuana and yield over 27,000 peer-reviewed published studies. To put 211 studies on Adderall published on PubMed.gov, and yet we have physicians around this country prescribing Adderall willy-nilly to kids. The time is now, the veterans are leading on this issue, and it's time that Congress catch up. That's what I have to say. My name is Justin Streckel. I'm Normal's National Political Director and Federal Lobbyist. The government is full of contradictions. At the end of the day, we have a DEA, we have a Department of Justice, currently led by militant prohibitionist and known racist Jeff Sessions, that don't want to listen to the will of the people. When 63% of Americans support outright legalization, majorities of Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. Last year, Pew found 51% of Republicans support outright legalization. You know, the people are way ahead of Congress on this issue. It's time that we stop allowing law enforcement officers to engage in citizens and wasting their time. Quite frankly, it's a waste of these gentlemen's time to be here while we demand this. And, you know, I'd much rather they didn't sign up for this. So, I'm just here.
Okay, catch you later.